What's going on? It's Ethan from Three Wine Sports. Let's do the Ethan Alexander show. It has been probably since September or October. Probably not October. I would say September since I've done an Ethan Alexander show episode. Why? Because no one watches the Ethan Alexander show because no one knows who Ethan Alexander is yet. I hope for that to eventually change, but I'm going to do it because I want to do it and because the more content, the better, and I don't have anything better to do. It is currently 12:21 a.m. Sunday, January 2020, what? Yeah, January 23rd, 2022. Hope all of you are having a wonderful, wonderful NFL playoff experience. I'm sure our Packers fans and friends are not. I am recording this only 2 hours after watching the game. And of course, our dear friend, podcast host, Packers fan, Eston Glover, is having a really tough time right now. So prayers out to him, prayers out to his family, because he just watched his entire life's work of being a Packers fan die in front of him. But before we really get into that, I'm going to tell you about some stuff I'm doing. And this next thing I'm about to tell you is really revolutionary. I am an indoor 9 and under boys soccer coach. I am. Um, it is an endeavor that I have trained for the duration of my life of playing the sport of soccer. It is a job that I do not take lightly. It is a job that I will fight to the bitter end to make sure I practice to the best of my abilities, and I refuse to fail these children in their developmental process of becoming great soccer players like myself. As of right now, the first week of game, 2 weeks of our games have been canceled because of weather, but in my mind, I think the committee just hates our team and wants us to lose. Um, but in our 2 weeks of games, the first week we went 0-1-1. The first game we had a kid quit halfway through for personal reasons. Completely, completely fine with that. They were completely valid reasons. And we were up 3-1 when he quit. He didn't quit for good. He just quit for the game. And the other team played 4v3 against us and came back and won. So in my book, that is a win because if he had stayed, we would have won. But of course, on the record book, it's a loss. But I count it as a win. Second game, we were up 4-2 with 1 minute left, and they sub in this kid who should have been playing with like 16-year-olds, and he was like 7. Best 7-year-old soccer player I've ever seen. He was doing like bicycle kicks and stuff. Brings them back in the last minute to tie it up. So in my book, they have a fraud kid on their team. He claims he's 7, but he may be upwards of 9 or 10, which is not legal as far as I know. So that's 2-0 in my book for the first week. Today I was not able to attend our games. I had an academic team competition. Contrary to popular belief, I am a very smart individual. For those who are interested, our team won first overall. I got second in social studies. That may be under protest after I see the test answers and perhaps notice that some of them have been changed because I should have won. I got fourth in composition, completely fine with that. If you don't know what composition is, you write an essay in 90 minutes. Most people write one in 90 minutes. I did mine in about 35 and got fourth. So put in the work. You put in the 35 minutes of work compared to the 90 minutes of work everyone else. Fourth is completely. I'm completely fine with fourth. And then our quick recall team, which is the buzzers, like you click buzzers and give answers or whatever, like Jeopardy. We got first overall. So it's a big W day for me. But my team were playing without me. And our other coach was there. Thank God for him. He was there to push our team to the next level. First game, from what I've been told, we were down 4-1 or 5-1. And one of our kids, he's a little beast. He's a killer. He is a future pro soccer player. Scored 4 goals in the last 2 minutes to tie that game up, and so that's a W in my book because we scored at a higher rate than the other team, from what I've been told. So that we're 3-0 in the season, and then the next game we legitimately won. So that's good. So we're 4-0 in my book. We're 1-1-2 in the record books. We're gonna win it all. Um, the other thing going on in my life, I've recently gotten an internship position doing social media and content for our local summer league baseball team. Do not be afraid that that is going to take away from the amount of content I produce on here, because I don't produce enough on here for that to take anything away. I do like a thing a day on here, and I'm happy about it, and that will just add another thing on my overall workload. Will not take away from 3Wind. Do not worry. You will see my face plenty. However, if you would like to keep up with that, you can find the Hoptown Hoppers. That is the Hoptown Hoppers on social media, and we'll get that started relatively soon, and you'll see a lot of stuff from that this summer if you want to follow that. I'm super excited for that. Huge opportunity there. Let's get into the sports, why don't we? NFL. I'm going to start with the NFL because the NFL, it just happened today. I'm also going to talk about the NBA, but NFL first and foremost, the games that happened today. Let's go over the Bengals and the Titans first. I'll be honest. I will be honest. I love the Bengals. They are my second favorite team in the NFL. Joe Burrow is my second favorite quarterback in the NFL. I'm a big Bengals fan. However, their game against the Raiders, I was unable to watch. I don't remember what I was doing. Probably something very important. I tend to do stuff like that. And for this game, I wanted to take a nap, so I took a nap. I'm just going to be honest. I took a nap. It was a really good nap. I enjoyed myself. I slept like a baby. But I did wake up for the fourth quarter, and it was a doozy. Congratulations to the Bengals. You're shooting for the stars. Your kicker McPherson is very good. Perhaps a hot take would be he's the best rookie on your team. Sorry, Jamar Chase, but he's the real deal. And I asked this question on Twitter mere minutes ago. Follow me on Twitter, 3Wind Ethan. Shameless plug per usual. What happens if the Bengals win the Super Bowl? What happens? I mean, can they do that? Is that allowed? Is it really? I mean, is it allowed for the Bengals to win a Super Bowl like now? Because the Bengals have sucked for so long. They've been so horrendous. For them to just all of a sudden be a Super Bowl winning team would be preposterous. I think as much as I do love the Bengals, as much as I love Joe Burrow, as much as I love Jamar Chase, as much as I love Evan McPherson, as much as I love the city of Cincinnati, I'm just not sure we can allow for that to happen. I think if they do win the Super Bowl as a collective group of fans across the league, quick yawn. It is after midnight when I'm recording this. I'm allowed to drop a quick yawn. I think as the league, as fans, we should be joining together to probably petition to get that Super Bowl ring taken away from them. Not because they didn't earn it, but just because it doesn't make any sense. I don't like it. There's no reason for that to have happened. And the rest of the league should feel stupid that it did. So in a perfect world, they do not win this. Even if they win the Super Bowl, they're not allowed to keep the rings and or title, and they'll just I guess give it to the Bills. That game was a good game. Don't get me wrong, but the big game on the docket for today is Green Bay versus the 49ers. I mean, going into this game, look. Going into the playoffs, I would have told you that the Green Bay Packers are the best team going into the playoffs, and you can ask anybody that does 3Wind stuff. I did say that they will choke, but the issue with that is I said they would do it in the NFC Championship. They proved me wrong. They did it in the divisional round. Green Bay was really bad today, And it's funny because so were the 49ers. It wasn't like Green Bay was really bad and they just got absolutely destroyed. No, they just played really bad, but they played a really bad, oh not really bad. They played a bad team. Um and in the end it didn't work out for them. Here's what happened. They scored an incredibly easy touchdown on their very first drive, and that's it. That's all they did. That's their whole game. Mason Crosby gets a field goal blocked in the first half. They go into halftime up 7-0, which is nothing. They should have been up 80-0. I mean, the 49ers sucked. The 49ers had one legitimate chance in the first half, and Jimmy G can't throw touchdowns through a interception straight to the other team. I mean, it was an atrocious throw. Went about 7 miles per hour straight into the hands of the opposing team's defender. That was like their only chance in the first half. So you go in the second half, you're like, well, Green Bay in theory should pick it up, right? Quick yawn. That's 2 quick yawns. I don't like to edit videos, so I'm not gonna do a yawn counter. But if I ever do, if I ever stop being lazy and start editing videos, I'll throw a yawn counter on the screen. But right now we're at 2. Green Bay was really bad in the second half, just like they were in the first, but this time the 49ers actually scored. So Robbie Gould makes a field goal to start the game off. It's still 7-3, and you're like, Green Bay should, they should get it cooking eventually. So at some point they're going to look like the best team in the NFL, like they did at the end of the season going into the playoffs. Nope. It never happened. Aaron Rodgers didn't look like an MVP quarterback. He's a fraud. Sorry, he's a fraud. Anybody who's ever, I'm getting up in the mic when I'm saying this, ever said he's better than Tom Brady, is you can no longer feasibly say that. First off, saying it already was stupid. You're an idiot for thinking that, for saying that. But now, you should be arrested and possibly put on death row for saying that now. It's not good to say that at all. Aaron Rodgers is just not a winner. He's a choke artist, and so are the Green Bay Packers. For years you're like, well, Aaron Rodgers is great, but they don't have a great defense. He doesn't have the right pieces. His coach, this and that, the matchups, blah, blah, blah. Tom Brady punched him in the nose, blah, blah, blah. Even if they're not in the same division, the same conference, anything, even if they don't play into the Super Bowl. Tom Brady just being in the playoffs is going to make Aaron Rodgers poop his pants and lose. You can't use that as excuses anymore. I guess other than that Tom Brady makes it, but I don't think he pooped his pants, so I guess you can't use that one either. His hair's too short. He had a good defense. He had good pieces. His hair was very long and greasy and kind of gross to an extent. And he looked homeless, but he had a new fandangled coach. And he still lost to the 49ers. Who didn't score an offensive or a defensive touchdown the whole game. Green Bay scored a touchdown on their first drive. That was it. Mason Crosby scored a field goal. If Mason Crosby's kicking field goals in for you, you shouldn't lose because that's like heaven sent. An angel came down and blessed the ball as it was flying through the... I might have lost for words. All right. Green Bay lost this game, but they beat themselves, right? There's no reason for Green Bay to have lost. The 49ers score their only touchdown whenever he used to play for the Bills. Let me think. Oh, geez, what is the punter's name? Corey something. He used to play for the Bills. I digress. His punt gets blocked, goes 1,000 feet in the air, drops down right in the hands of a 49ers special team. They bring it in to the end zone for a touchdown, the only 49ers touchdown of the game, the only second half touchdown. Come on. Now it's 10-10. You get 4.5 minutes. Aaron Rodgers, the king of going all the way in 40 seconds, gets 4.5 minutes to score and gets stumped. He is the best wide receiver in the league. Best wide receiver in the league. And it's not like that's his only option. He has several other offensive options that are very, very good. But if we're just focusing on one, he has the best wide receiver in the league. And he can't get past half field. It was atrocious. He got stumped. You know who did get down the field? The 49ers, led by Jimmy freaking Garoppolo, who sucks. Deebo Samuel is out there running, getting first downs on 3rd and 11s, getting first downs with a with and limping off the field, looking like his leg's broken, and he goes out early in the game because he looks like he's broke his hand or something. For Deebo Samuel to be literally wheelchair bound, beating you in the final 2 minutes of a game, when you are supposedly the best team in football, is embarrassing, disgusting. Aaron Rodgers should feel disgusted with this performance. The Packers should probably pack up and leave Green Bay and move to a city that really exists, that isn't just a football team, because Green Bay is just a football team. It's not a city. They should move to somewhere that is slightly, you can stick with no one else cares about this city, but we got a football team theme, but just with a little bit bigger of a city. Like, why don't you just hit up like oh geez, what's a good one? What's a good example? Freaking I was about to say Salt Lake City, which is a big city and has my favorite basketball team, which would have been slanderous of me, and I apologize. Um, hmm. Let's go with like Bakersfield, California. How about that? How about that? Another California team is what we need. Maybe if they were in California, they would have had a better chance at winning this game. Um, Robbie Gould walks out in the final seconds, knocks down a field goal, ends the Green Bay Packers season, ends Aaron Rodgers' tenure, we would assume, with the Green Bay Packers, and ultimately sets Tom Brady up to go to another Super Bowl, if we're being honest. And then he may win it, but we're gonna get to that in a second because I don't think he will. Anything else I want to say? Aaron Rodgers is a fraud. The Green Bay Packers are a fraud. I'm sorry, Eston. I think that's it. We move on to the Buffalo Bills, my team. And if they weren't my team, I probably wouldn't be talking about them. They absolutely demolished, demoralized, probably effectively ended the New England Patriots for the next decade. In the wild card round, it was just as a crazy beatdown. The most perfect offensive game in NFL history was done by the Buffalo Bills, and it was against the Patriots. So I'm incredibly happy. But what can the Bills do from here? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I think it's kind of obvious. They can beat the Chiefs. I think that's kind of a Super Bowl game, if I'm being honest. Because I think either the Chiefs or the Bills have a good chance at beating whoever comes out of the NFC. I don't think the Bengals do. Does that mean they'll be the favorite against the Bucks or the Rams? Yeah, they'll probably both be the favorites against the Rams. But does that mean they'll be the favorites against the Bucks? Maybe not. But do they have a good chance? For sure. You're crazy if you don't think they do. So this game tomorrow night's kind of like a mini Super Bowl, and I'm super worried, nervous, and excited. The Bills just need to play like 80% of how good they played against the Patriots. I think that's doable, right? Josh Allen looked like the best quarterback in the history of not just football but sports. He looked like the best quarterback in the MLB and NBA too. He was that good. But what you got is the Kansas City Chiefs, who at any moment could be the best team in the history of sports. So it just leaves it up to chance. Really, I'm concerned. If the Bills win, I will be so ecstatic. And now that Green Bay is out of playoff contention, that's just one other team that I think could beat the Bills. Because I don't think the 49ers can beat the Bills, and I really don't think the Rams can. I mean, maybe if they play like a perfect game, but I don't think the 49ers can beat the Bills. So the Bucks are the only team that I would be worried about in the Super Bowl. I think the Bills beat the Bengals. So I mean, this is kind of like a mini Super Bowl. I'm concerned, but if you want to watch us react to it, we'll try to be on TikTok live tomorrow night watching the game. But for that to happen, we have to get to 1,000 followers, and we're at 981 right now. So if you're listening to this and you want to help a brother out, go follow our TikTok, 3Wine Sports on TikTok. It's really not that hard to do. Following's really easy. You click a red button, and even if you just see one of my videos, you don't even have to go to the profile and click the button. There's a little plus sign on the circle on the lower right-hand side, and you can click that too, and it just follows it, and you never even have to look at the page again. How about that? But I want you to look at the page again. I want you to like everything, and I want you to watch our live tomorrow night, watching the Bills versus the Chiefs play, and it's going to be so funny and so um, hilarious and quirky and zany, and you're going to love it. Um, Also, the Chiefs suck. Okay, we go on to the NBA, and I don't have a ton of NBA topics, and I don't even know if this episode's gonna reach 30 minutes, and who cares? I'm talking about what I want to talk about, and if it does reach 30 minutes, again, who cares? NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies are very good, is what I have exactly written down on my little mini script. The Memphis Grizzlies are very good. Thank you, Ethan, from an hour ago. That is true. The Memphis Grizzlies are very good. I think what I meant to say to illustrate to my mind was that the Memphis Grizzlies got really good really fast. They got really good really fast, like with no real reasons. They're the same team they had last year, other than John Morant has just made a massive jump. But they're the same team that got obliterated by the Jazz in the first round of the playoffs last year, and now they're the third seed in the West, which means they're the third seed in the entire league, and they're above the Jazz, who are currently the fourth seed, and we'll talk about them too, because they need to be talked about in a much more negative manner than I'm talking about the Grizzlies right now. Ja Morant has been fantastic, and about a week ago, I can't even say it. About a week ago, I wrote my NBA All-Star Starters blog, where I give you all my NBA All-Star starter predictions, or my picks for the NBA All-Star starters, and I put Donovan Mitchell over Ja Morant because at the time Donovan Mitchell was averaging 30 points per game, and he was the Player of the Month for the West in December. But right now, I'm like, I think it's Ja. I think Ja deserves that spot. Sorry, Donovan. With third seed, best player in the team, third seed in the entire league, I think you give Ja that spot now. If I'm being completely honest. They went on a crazy run. They won games without Ja, which isn't a testament to them being good without Ja, because again, it's the same team as last year. They just so happen to be very their chemistry is fantastic. They're clicking on all levels, offensive, defensive from three. Ja Morant was, I don't know if he still is, but at one point was leading the entire league in field goal percentage from right under the basket. That has never been done before by a guard. The only people I could think of that would have gotten close were Dwayne Wade and Michael Jordan, and those are the only guards I can think that would have had field goal percentages like that from that close. It just doesn't happen. And he's a smaller guy than those guys by a significant margin. It's crazy how good he is. Is he a top 10 player in the league? I don't know if I'm ready to make that statement yet, but he's 100% top 20 and probably top 15. He is very, very, very good. Murray State graduate. That's where I'm going to school. What can the Memphis Grizzlies do? I don't think they're a contender. As much as they are very good, as much as they are killing the game right now, I can't put them in contender category or a contender grouping of teams because I just don't think they're there yet. I think they're too young. They don't have enough playoff experience. Some of their guys are wishy-washy. They're not guys who I would trust in a playoff scenario. However, there are guys who I do trust in a playoff scenario. I don't think Ja Morant's going to have any issues playing in the playoffs. He had a great playoff series last year against Utah. He couldn't do it by himself. I think Dylan Brooks is going to be a good playoff player. Jaren Jackson's a person I'm worried about. I don't know if he's going to be great in the playoffs. Who else do they? Guys like Tyus Jones, maybe not. Steven Adams will be fine in the playoffs. He'll do the exact same thing he does in the regular season. And Desmond Bane, he's another guy that kind of gives me those Ja Morant vibes. I don't think the playoffs are going to phase him if they go deeper than the first round. I just don't. However, the team as a whole, I'm just not sure if I trust him in the playoffs. I think if they get to the second round, that is a W for them, especially after what happened last year. They're definitely going to be in the top 6 seeds, so I'm not worried about them going into a play-in game and getting screwed over. They're very good. Who's not very good? The Utah Jazz, and this is my last topic of the day that I can think of at the moment because they've disgusted me. They're scaring me. They're really worrying me, and I'll give you the whole rundown. So they've been bad this year, but they were really good to start the year. So they're really solid to start the season. They were the third seed, but in reality, they were in that 3 with Phoenix, Golden State, and Utah, where they were all competing for the first seed. All 3 of them took them a very long time for them to get their 10th loss. Once they got that 10th loss, snap, it was downhill from there. A lot of that is because players have been out, COVID protocols, injuries. Donovan Mitchell now has a concussion. But for a while there, it was like Rudy Gobert was out for several games. When Rudy Gobert is out, the Utah Jazz are barely a playoff team. They're just not. They're just barely a playoff team. And you ask yourself why? Because Donovan Mitchell's so good, and the rest of the team is built very well, and they're experienced, and they're guys who win awards. I mean, last year Jordan Clarkson got Sixth Man of the Year, and Joe Ingles is sitting in second place in the same race, and you got Mike Conley who had a first All-Star appearance last year. But at the end of the day, they're just not that great without Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is an incredibly impactful player. I think in the classical terminology for MVP, he is the MVP. I know that's crazy. That's a crazy hot take to say. I think his value to the team in Utah is only equal to Nikola Jokic's value in Denver. I think those are the only two players that have as much value for their specific team. I think Nikola Jokic may be a little bit more, but at the same time, the team's been worse, blah, blah, blah. You could make the argument. No one's arguing for Rudy being the MVP. I don't think he has the storyline to be an MVP. In today's age, the storyline matters, and I don't think he has it. But if you want to be technical about MVP, most valuable player, I think he has a case for being the most valuable player in the league to his team. And he should be an all-star starter. But when he's out, the Jazz look horrible. He picks them up so much on defense. The myth that he isn't a good perimeter defender is immediately exposed when he doesn't play. He is an incredible interior defender, probably a top 5, and I know hot take, top 5 interior defender ever based on every advanced stat, based on every regular stat pretty much too. But when it comes to the perimeter, he's well above average, especially for his size, his build, his position, everything like that, well above average. And the only other like positive defender we have on the team is Royce O'Neal. If your second best defender on your team is Royce O'Neal, and nothing against Royce, nothing against him, because he's had a solid season. For the beginning of the year, I was kind of concerned with him. Since then, he's been pretty solid. When your second best defender on your team is Royce O'Neal, your team is bound to lose. I'm sorry. Donovan Mitchell is an okay defender. Mike Conley is an okay defender, but he's really small and weak and kind of gets pushed around by bigger players. Bojan Bogdanovic has shown flashes of being an okay defender, but Jordan Clarkson's an atrocious defender. Joe Ingles used to be a very solid defender, but I'm not sure if he fits in that group anymore. Hassan Whiteside had a very good start to his season, but has since then kind of fallen off a little bit. Who else? I mean, who else are we even playing? Udoka Azubuike barely plays. I'm missing people because I'm thinking so fast. But yeah, I mean the team's just struggling. They went on how long was the losing streak? Was it 6 games? I think it was 4 or 5. Not good, and we just barely beat the Pistons last night. Or I guess because it's now the 20. I guess it's now because it's Sunday. It was 2 nights ago. But I digress. Either way, the Utah is in a spot right now where they're in a rough spot. So they're the 4th seeded team in the West, which I think still may be the 4th best record in the league because the East the East is deep, but the West is so top heavy that I think it may still be 4th, and if it's not, it's still in like top 5. But you have this group, which you have Donovan Mitchell as your superstar, even though I think Rudy Gobert is the best player on that team. That the timeline is really screwed up, right? So you have Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, kind of Jordan Clarkson, Azubuike. That is kind of your timeline fitting guys. Bogdanovich is old. Joe Ingles is old. Mike Conley is old. Guys like that are old and they don't fit the timeline. So you don't have many years to work with for this team to win. And I think right now they're kind of at a stalemate where they can't really get much better with the pieces that they have. They can't add on to what they have. They have to remove to gain, right? You know what I mean? So trades. Jeremy Grant is a huge asset that I would love to have, but I don't want to give up Bojan Bogdanovic for him. Joe Ingles, a package with Joe Ingles and some young players, maybe. Trent Forrest, Joe Ingles, I'd be fine with that. But are they going to take that? Maybe a couple draft picks. Do the Jazz even have good draft picks? No. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think this team has what it takes to get to, like, the conference finals, which is rough. Because if this team doesn't get past the second round this year, it's a fail. It's just a massive fail. I think if the team doesn't get past the second round this year, Quinn Snyder has to go. And it's time to rebuild, and that's a weird thing to say. I think you keep Gobert. I think you keep Mitchell, and everybody else is on the trading block. And even if it's like a rebuild, even if it's not like your rebuild you think of where the team sucks and you get draft picks and you draft high and you draft these players, blah, blah, blah. Even if you want to kind of kick around in the playoffs for a little bit while building your team, that's fine. But I don't think this team is the team to do it. I don't think this is the team for Utah. I did a year ago, I did think it was the team for Utah. I don't anymore. And that's okay. Changes happen. But Utah is going to have to, unless we just go on a Cinderella run or have a great second half of the season, going to have to make some serious changes if we want to win in the future. And I think that's team changes, coaching changes, front office changes. Luckily, I think we have Danny Ainge, who's a notable good rebuilder in the front office now. So I think the promise is there. I think the potential is there. Donovan Mitchell, as long as he stays in Utah, will be a building block that is a fantastic building block to have, and I think Rudy Gobert too, even though he's a little older. Um, but overall, it's just not the team that I think is going to win a championship. And at the end of the day, that's what every team should be striving for. And if we're in a no man's land or in limbo over here, I just don't think it's the best case scenario. Um, that's all I have to talk about today. We went over several things that I think were important. Goofed and gaffed a little bit. But at the end of the day, the Utah Jazz are frauds. The Memphis Grizzlies are not. The Green Bay Packers are frauds. The 49ers are frauds. The Chiefs are going to get their butts kicked tomorrow. The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is old. Don't hurt me, Tom Brady, by winning the Super Bowl because I said that. And you can follow 3 Wine Sports on every single social media under the name 3 Wine Sports. Go follow us on TikTok. I know I always plug everything, blah, 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 the podcast, the YouTube, the Instagram. I never plug Facebook. I plug the Twitter. Go follow us on TikTok. We're trying to hit 1,000 followers. We're trying to go live on TikTok more regularly for games, whether it's NFL, NBA, probably not MLB, probably not NHL, but you never know. So we will see you in the future. I will see you in the future. This has been the Ethan Alexander Show, and thanks for watching. And if you liked it, like it and subscribe.